Originally, I mean, I was born up in Illinois, but I grew up in Naples, Florida. So,
what part of Illinois?
Peoria, really. Born in Rockford, and then some farm areas, and then my mom was a teacher in Peoria for a little while.
My whole family is from just north of there in Janesville, Wisconsin.
Oh, okay, great.
Yeah.
There was family all across the state, from what I understand. But we went to Florida. I was 7, I believe.
Okay. Well, you don't have that southern drawl. So
I didn't grow up around it. And then with Naples, you're so far south, you're north again, and that was true. That was true back then.
That's true.
Too.
Yeah, I never thought about it.
It's like that, especially coastal. You know, you go inland Florida, there's definitely more dialects and whatnot. Around Gainesville and Ocala and stuff like that.
I didn't even think about it like that. That's a great point.
It's a transient state, man. You know.
And you were in the Army. When did you?
I was.
When did you join the Army?
That would have been 1998.
Is that out of high school or?
No. I'd gone to school and everything for a little while, and done some jobs and whatnot, and was playing in bands and everything. And this moment came where it was really clear, like you're either gonna kind of play and end up in some other profession, or you're gonna buckle down. And and at that time, it was this time where you were transitioning from like the studio musician was something I'd go to school and be like, hey, could always be a studio musician. That would be great. Still play all day, good gig and everything like that. And then the military part came an option as far as paying off loans and everything like that. And
people want their money.
And so it was also like there's a lot of opportunity at that time. And the studio musician thing, it was starting to become clear. People were starting to have at-home recording studios and stuff like that. That colored iMac was about to come out.
Oh,
it came out while I was doing that 4 years. That really did change everything. I remember I forget exactly, it might have been Studio Musician or one of those magazines where it's like the end of the recording studio. And that, part of that is playing out.
I was talking to David Barbie about that actually. He was saying how there's a lot of, not that Pro Tools is a bad thing, but there's a lot of folks that aren't traditional like sound engineers and rely heavily on that, I guess, a digital processing platform rather than a lot of knobs and stuff, working with a lot of knobs.
There's a lot you can do at home now. I'm a keyboard player especially. Right. So like, I can direct line in. So there's a lot you can do at home now that you would have gone to the studio to do 20 years ago. A lot. And that just keeps getting more and more. So, but there's still, having great places like we have around town, like Chase Park and everything like that. It's an important step still. If you're doing real albums, you need a studio still, in my opinion.
Well, it caught my attention that you've talked about this. Like I was listening to one of the interviews you did on One Simple Road, which those guys are great.
Yeah, they're great.
They're cool folks.
Yeah.
But I think they were in one of the episodes I listened to. They were a little shocked at like how some of you guys had military experience, almost like. And I kind of felt the same way. I was like, because I don't really put like jam music together with the discipline of the armed forces, but we're wrong.
There's a lot of heads in the military.
I got chased.
When I was there was a lot.
I got chased by a recruiter out of high school pretty heavy.
Mm-hmm.
And I had actually gone to MEPS in Atlanta. And I think it was the night before like all the tests and stuff.
Right.
I had my first kid when I was really young. I was only 20. And I was there when I found out that my girlfriend was pregnant. So I actually broke my arm when I was young and they needed x-rays and stuff. So they couldn't ship me off immediately.
Okay.
So once I went home, I didn't go back. But I always wonder what my life would have been like had I gone that route. So I have a lot of respect for guys that did that because I know that's a commitment.
It was great. My son currently serves right now in the Air Force, and my dad was in Vietnam. My grandfather served, uncles, cousins, all that sort of stuff. So the idea of service was kind of ingrained, and not even necessarily, to the country, but to other humans. The act of service was a big deal growing up in the house.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, my dad or my grandfather was in the Korean War and another potential conflict, but I should know this, but I can't remember off the top of my head. But he won enough money playing poker in the Korean War to build the house in Janesville for my grandmother. He was a big card player.
Wow.
And you know how it is up north. People are playing, what's some of the games? It's what you do in the wintertime, though. It's too damn cold to be.
Like bridge and stuff like that.
Yeah.
My mom's a big bridge player still. So, there's all sorts of different Midwest games.
What did he play? Euchre.
Oh, euchre, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Euchre and old style beer.
I don't know that I know that one. Yeah. I still grew up in the Hold'em house.
So you guys, and I know that the band kind of took, has had a couple different shapes. I know some of the original members left. You had a little bit of a hiatus, but how did you really meet those guys in an open mic night down in Savannah? That really happened?
Yeah, it was JJ Cagney's. At that time, it was on Bay Street. It would go to River Street a couple years into it. I mean, everything happened at those early. But yeah, it was open mic night. I had just gotten back from Bosnia.
Oh, wow.
While I was in Bosnia, Albert had arrived to Fort Stewart as the new drummer. He got out of school of music up in Norfolk. And he had arrived, and I met him like the first or second night that I was back from Bosnia. And we sat in one of the perks when you're in the military band is you get really nice gear. And I was the only MOS, your job, your military occupational specialty is your MOS, right? So your job in the military. And I was the only MOS keyboard player at Fort Stewart, which meant I was really busy a lot of the time. But I also got to help pick out instruments. So I had a beautiful Yamaha C7 in the band hall that I would play often. And Albert and I sat there and jammed for a while, and I told him about this open mic I'd heard about. The rest, as they say, is history.
Isn't it crazy how that happens? It's just a weird coincidence. But I did hear you say that you played overseas, and it was a lot of probably a lot of top 40 stuff, right?
It was, there was a show band that did a lot of that, but we did all the iterations. We had concert band for more of the traditional, holiday pieces, especially while we were deployed in Bosnia from late October to late January, so through the holidays. And during that time, it was when David Letterman did his show over there with the USO and everything that. Yeah. So that was a cool experience because we played host to all those musicians. Like I got to walk basically for 3 days right around the holidays, play host to the Pointer Sisters keyboard player, who was this old head from San Francisco, showed up and tie-dyed, you've got Terry Bradshaw and, all the Dallas cheerleaders and all these, Jewel, Al Franken, all these USO guests coming off the plane. And my guy that I'm assigned to comes rolling off with long hair and tie-dyed sweatpants. I was like, this guy, you and I are going to get along great. So, yeah.
What kind of music did you grow up on and like through high school and up until your military time? What were you
really
to?
Everything. I was lucky that mom and dad it was a pretty rich musical household growing up. So it was everything from a lot of the singer-songwriter stuff like Cat Stevens and Harry Chapin, storyteller stuff like that to, the Saturday Night Fever soundtrack and Bee Gees and all points in between, really. There's a lot of good stuff.
Were you a Deadhead at one point? Were you into the Dead?
I got my first Grateful Dead. It was the best of the Skeletons from the Closet. I think it was Columbia House. I was probably 12, where it was
10 CDs for a penny.
That one got the most plays at the time. So it was pretty early I got hooked. So I only got to see him a couple times
Me too.
Because of my age. And it was at the Pitter Patter at the end, unfortunately. Fish got me off like immediately, it was just a younger energy.
Yeah. I was growing up in Athens. Of course, I was a Panic guy, so I was a late bloomer in terms of Fish.
Gotcha, yeah.
But I've really been into them lately.
Yeah.
But
that was all, through late high school, college was a lot of, listening to Fish and learning, being a jazz student at the same time and learning the world of improvisation kind of opening up more and more and where the truth lied somewhere in there,
And you guys have been around for a long time, but it's stunning to me how Fish has been able to just maintain like this crazy level of dedicated fans for, God, when they start like probably mid 80s, like Panic did, I guess, or late 80s. But
yeah, well, I mean, they've got the goods, man.
Yeah,
something special happens.
That's true.
Something special happens when those four fellas get up there. So I'm here for it too, man. So I'm glad they're still doing it. Yeah, but next year's 25 years for us, which is wild.
What was the common denominator for you guys and your ability to gel and make music? Was there anything in common that you guys were into back then?
I think the things that all four of us kind of grew up on, and I know that were really important. I think especially, I can say this for Brock and myself especially, was this mixture of Paul Simon and Trent Reznor, where the Graceland album super important, and then pretty much anything Trent started doing in the late 80s was hugely influential because I was a high schooler at that time, and there was it's hard to kind of get it across. I feel like it might be happening with the younger generation right now, but back then, like, it wasn't so homogenized sonically, and this is all genres really. And if you think about those 90s, that part of that early grunge movement and era was every band sounded different and had their own thing. Like, even though Ministry and Nine Inch Nails ran in this industrial lane, you could tell immediately whether or not you were listening to Ministry or Nine Inch Nails. You know,
that's a good point.
And I think that was true across the board. You know, for the genres a little bit more back then.
It wasn't too long after you joined the band that y'all put out the first album, Sweet Oblivious Antidote, which is how I knew you guys the best, I guess is the term I'm looking for.
Yeah.
Was 3 weeks. That was a big one for you guys.
I mean, Brock and Adam came out to the band hall at Fort Stewart right after some of those open mics for our first couple rehearsals. And 3 weeks in a song called Decepticon Structure were the two we worked on first. So
I liked Walking in Place was one of my favorites too, always was.
Walking in place, we wave the smoke out of our face, and then we see you. Hellos and goodbyes, the door still shuts in our eyes, and we still leave you. Some other bend to some other end, on some other night. This
I bartended at the Georgia Theater for a few years.
Oh, nice.
So you guys would come through, and that was always, and I knew it was always going to be a good crowd because of the type of music that you guys played. So I got to see a bunch in the early days.
Those are fun. The old theater.
Yeah, before the fire.
Yeah. That was what our name was on the marquee the day of the fire and everything.
Oh, was it really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
It's weird to watch.
I remember waking up to that, and it was after Wilmot had taken over, obviously, for anybody that doesn't know, but
love that guy.
And I remember thinking, oh no, because Tyrone's had burned down when I was a kid here, which was like the old place that REM and everybody would kind of cycle through before the Georgia Theater and stuff. Mm-hmm. And I was so sad because I didn't know what was going to happen, and I didn't know if they'd rebuild. And it's just such an icon for the city, you know?
Right.
So now you talked about one thing that was interesting that you mentioned on that podcast with the guys, 20th anniversary of that album coming out. Yeah. You guys opted to totally re-record, right? Not just a remastering exercise, or did you actually?
It was a remix.
Okay.
So, gosh, I'm going to mess some of this up for the gearheads, but we recorded to tape essentially back then. They were the
8 millimeters.
The DAT tape, right? And so we were fortunate enough to get in touch with the producer that we had done it with, and he still had the original machines. So there's a company. Gosh, see, the details are already fading, just north of the city, and they extract audio. And they're like right now they're doing National Archives and like all the PBS stuff. He showed me this row of film and tape that was all the Austin City Limits that they were digitizing.
Oh, wow.
And everything. So they extracted all that for us to digital, and it was quite the process. It was real hairy, but we got almost all of it. The drums on the song Perihelion, we couldn't get them. It just wasn't going to happen. And so those were re-recorded. And then we recorded 2 songs of that era that weren't on the album. We record them now, or essentially, this is 3-4 years ago now when we did that. But we recorded 2 new songs.
Got it.
But, they were old songs. New recordings of old songs.
And I think you said that you were, and I may be paraphrasing, but it sounded like you were saying that there were some pieces in that album that you wanted to redo that you felt like weren't.
The mix and redoing the mix was essential.
Okay.
And the 20th anniversary one sounds, if you ABM, it's immediately obvious what's going on. We also had the opportunity after the remix to work with Jason Kingsland, producer here in town. He has an Atmos studio right over on Boulevard there. And that was awesome, getting to do a whole album because we had done the singles already in Atmos. So we got to do the whole album, which was neat. Pretty cool experience sonically.
I think you said that a good test of a recording is like to jump in the car and listen to it.
Yeah.
Which is what I do with the podcast. And I immediately know if my levels and stuff are right. But I chuckled a little bit when I heard you say that because I was like, I do that same thing for my show.
I was just finishing a solo kind of ambient meditation album, and the studio that we were doing the final mix and master in has these beautiful, beautiful, speakers everywhere. And then right in front, it's got 2 just garbage, like 4-inch. And really, that's what we would go to most. Like, it's like, listen how lush and perfect that is. All right, now give us the truth, essentially, like on the worst possible thing, how's it going to sound?
When you guys made that change at drummer, how did that affect? I think you said that it was nice to have some new blood in the mix, having a new guy, and him having played with like the Colonel. Did that change the dynamic of the music a little bit, or do you think it?
Oh yeah. Okay. And I mean, I love both parts. I love there's this accuracy and precision with Albert that's maybe not the same with Darren, but with Darren, I feel like we get like the 5th T. About the 5 T's. There's 5 T's, so you have taste, touch, tone, talent, and then threat of vomit. And in that jam band world, threat of vomit is the most important. If you're not doing, what are you doing if you're playing the same song for the last 20 years, but you're not on the cliff's edge?
Yeah.
Or at least trying to get to the cliff's edge every time you play it. So threat of vomit definitely was a nice introduction. And, still rises, there's not a lot of things that happen the same way with Darren at the helm, which is great, because he had Colonel, like you mentioned. He was doing Jimmy's 5 of 7, and he goes and plays with Ozone Squeeze. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but it's Osnoy on guitar and Ray Thistlewaite that does singing, keys, and bass with his left hand all at the same time. It's the wildest thing. If you get a chance, go YouTube Ozone Squeeze. It's amazing.
God, I could barely play. It's a very minimal guitar, and he's playing 3 different instruments.
My YouTube has a Ray Thistlethwaite algorithm, so I sit there and just watch his independence between the left and right, because he's just, if he was doing one of those 2 things, you'd be like, whoa.
Show off.
You see them both having the same time, like water falling out, and you're like, wow,
that's
amazing. Yeah.
You start? I think you started to go there. So have you always recorded in town, or was it some of your albums were in Atlanta?
Yeah, we did. The Sweet Oblivious Antidote was done at a home studio called Wonder Dog Studios up in Marietta, and then the next 2 albums after that were done at Tree Sound Studios.
Gotcha.
Paul Diaz and that whole team down there. Robert Hannon was producer on both of those.
Excellent.
And then I believe they did Heal, because I took a break there for a minute, and they did Heal at Chase Park. Since then, I think everything has, well, no, that's not true. The 2019 self-title we did at Mitch Easter's place up in Kernersville, North Carolina, which was an amazing experience.
Oh, what is that called?
Fidelatorium.
Fidelatorium,
yeah. He's got a spot on there for bands to stay. So it was 10 days of just like nothing else.
That's killer.
Which is good, yeah.
I think, I want to say Sam Holt did one of his albums up there.
Right on.
And he was, somebody made mention of like a drive-in.
Oh, yeah.
What is that? What was that about?
It's just a movie theater. It wasn't a drive-in that I saw. There might have been a drive-in when they were there, but I definitely went. It was so funny. That's great you mentioned that. It's got the old movie theater with the stick up lettering and everything like that.
Yeah.
And Ant-Man and the Wasp was showing at that time, and somebody had flipped the M and it said Antoine and the Wasp. So that's what I went to see one night. Brox was doing vocals one night. You got to take breaks. We were probably 6 or 7 days in at this point, and I went and saw Antoine and the Wasp that night. So it's pretty funny. But.
Yeah, so you took a break, focus on family.
Yeah.
But came back in 2011. Was that rejuvenating for you, just to kind of step away for a little bit? And
yeah, it was a little bit of both things, It was good to know that I could step out of it and do other things. But it was nice to come back too.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
What do you do in Athens when you're not making music? Is there anything you're into? Any hobbies or anything that you'd like to do?
I've been the last few years, especially since the pandemic and the way we wanted to not maybe tour quite so heavy, especially post-pandemic. Some of the discussions that we had with that. I had started working not only on my own health in general, but a lot of work with folks, recognizing some time I had spent with friends in the past, especially vet friends and what like that, was being reframed in this healing space that's been going on with some certain medicines and whatnot. So I've been spending a lot of time getting certifications and, learning a lot more on how to speak the dogma of the current landscape.
Like holistic type stuff?
Some holistic medicine stuff in that world. But, in my personal path, wanting to share more of that essentially with others. You know how it goes. Like,
oh, cool.
Kriya yoga practice with breath work and,
nice.
The essential all the benefits that can come from just sound healing in general and sound, vibrational work.
I love it.
So, yeah.
Well, my girlfriend is a Pilates instructor.
Right on.
So she's opened my eyes to, I'm a little bit out of shape, but we do walk a lot during the week, get a few miles in every day. I'm not much of a runner, but I love to get out to the outdoors. But she's educated me a lot on things I didn't know about nutrition, a lot of nutrition stuff that I was just ignorant about, ways to stretch, which I had kind of neglected and really was starting to affect my posture. But yeah, I'm intrigued. I'll have to look that up.
Yeah, the end of the day, it's the biggest focus is how do I, you take some of these things that can be viewed as a little woo-woo and whatnot, and how do you frame it? And just like all this is really good nervous system regulation, so how is it that you reach as many people that might not tune into that sort of thing regularly to get to maybe sit with their breath for a few minutes and actually work with it and sit in the after effects of that and what that means. But most of the focus has been kind of like an integration teammate and stepping into that sort of work a little more. And that's what the album that I just finished is the musical side of that. Like I said, it's an ambient meditation piece.
What's that album called?
It's going to be called... It is called The Zero's Journey, but the project itself is called Somnol. And so it'll be in a few weeks, probably launching all that. There's a bunch of P-Groove stuff. All of us are doing, we've got the 25 years, like I said, next year. Brock just did Brock Butler Band album, which is really great. If you haven't gotten to hear it, he's got Darren on there along with Kevin Scott and a bunch of other phenomenal players. Adam has a project called Thief Taker that he does, and Darren is very high in demand drummer at all times from everyone. So we all have other things that we are doing outside of that most of them still touch on the musical side of it, for me, I want to be home a lot more often, but there's no reason, like just because next year's 25 years, we've got some events we're definitely planning. I don't think it's too out of where we're going to do New Year's at Terminal West this year.
Great place.
Beautiful. I love that room. We haven't done it for a few years now too, so it'll be fun. And that'll tie into the 25 years beginning with 2026. It's too bad it couldn't have been 25 years at 2025. Some of those emails have been really confusing when it says PG 25 and people are like, this October? No, next October. But and then we're going to announce very soon here in Athens in March that we're going to do a couple nights at Rialto Room and build events around that.
Is that Hotel Indigo?
It is, yeah.
I've not been there yet.
It's really, really acoustically wonderful room. It's really cool to do something different and intimate. So this will be the smaller kind of because you can't do a ton of tickets in there. So we're going to do almost like a storytellers for 2 nights.
Oh, that'll be fun.
Yeah, and then we'll have events through the day on Saturday as well. Meet and greet, cocktail party, maybe a trivia thing.
Nice.
And then it looks like there's going to be late nights of events, like a pre-party on Thursday, and then on Friday and Saturday have late night events over at Livewire.
Nice.
So yeah, that's all just starting to come together. There'll probably be a big announce, I'm sure, around it.
Do you credit y'all's side projects and I shouldn't say side projects, but side journeys? Mm-hmm. Do you credit that to y'all's ability to sustain over time? Because it's not every day that you see a band that has been together for 25 years. Mm-hmm. Do you think that's a healthy part of why you guys are able to kind of sustain and carry the music forward throughout all these years? I
think it is now. Early on, every band and every project, beyond bands, every project, every entrepreneur, every artist, you have this tiny bubble of mass hysteria that you're part of, right? Because it's all about the thing, the project, right? And we all did that. And for better or worse, we were young, hungry, that part's all great. We didn't necessarily have a lot of experience or guidance around us in some of those early years, which, it just is the way it is. It all plays out how it's supposed to be, right?
Yeah.
But now I would say that having those other things are hugely important. We all, there's family and, relationships and all that. But the creative act has to manifest itself in a bunch of different ways, I feel like.
Are the other guys in the Southeast, or is people spread out a little bit?
Yeah, we're all in the Southeast now. There's a period of time where Brock was out in California, but Brock's in Florida, and then Adam, Darren, and I are both Darren and Adam are in the Atlanta area.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Cool. Obviously, you guys, you've got a pretty significant presence on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. People that want to get, obviously there's the Apples and Spotify's of the world, but you also have a lot of content on Bandcamp and livedownloads.com. Mm-hmm. I'm curious to get your take on, I've been obsessed with this idea about this and you don't have to answer this if you want to stay PC, but there seems to be this monopoly that Live Nation has on promoting bands, owning the venue, owning the concessions, getting a piece of the merch. Mm-hmm. And it makes it harder on people like me that want to go see shows because the prices are inflated on everything so much. Just curious if you have an opinion on that sort of thing. I mean, part of me says it's capitalism, but on the other hand, I'm like, that is a large piece of the pie to have in one corporation.
It's tough. It's not just them; they get the most attention for it too.
Oh, really?
AEG also has a bunch of the similar structure and venue and stuff like that. And a lot of my friends work for Live Nation and AEG, and so They have employed people that I've known in the industry that came from mom and pop places.
Gotcha.
As they've done this, at least the really good ones that were worth keeping around. So, everything can be paradoxical, right?
Yeah.
We find it in our politics. We find it everywhere. There's good and bad that exists simultaneously.
Cool.
So
I was hesitant to ask the question because I didn't want to put you on the spot.
No. I don't mind answering it all.
Perspective.
Yeah. From an artist perspective, you're right about all those things. I will say Live Nation has stepped back on the merch cut. And then, they gave us the gas cards and stuff a couple of years ago, along with some per diem, essentially.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, at certain venues for a tour or two, it was like that, which was nice and it helped. And, it did feel like making up for some of those years where you'd have not a ton of merch sales and you still had to hand over 20% of not a lot of money.
Right.
It stings even more when that happens. On your merch. So, also there's a lot of folks that we still do shows with that own the venue that are small, independent, and they've been doing it a long time. They're really good at it. And just whether it's because of regional markets or the reasons, whatever surround it, they never got absorbed or, they've managed to make it. Mm-hmm. And those are all great too. I'll say that while all that is true, when I see a Live Nation or an AEG or one of the big guys on there, I know that it's going to be super professional.
That's a good point.
Everybody's going to be there to do the job well.
That's a great point.
And you can expect consistency.
Okay.
It's kind of like, it's the Starbucks thing too. That chai latte is the same.
Well, that's what I wanted to ask you about it, because I was certain that there was going to be some positives you'd educate me on. So that makes sense.
Yeah. There's pros and cons, to all of it.
Well, let me ask you this. One venue that I've never been to that I know you guys are playing in the late fall, that seems to be a place that a lot of quote unquote jam bands have gone through. Ziggy's.
Yeah.
I've never been there, but I've heard real good things about it. And it must be a good place to perform in because it seems like a lot of people cycle through there.
Yeah. So Jay Stevens there, who owns Ziggy's, the original Ziggy's in Winston-Salem, was a really incredible room. It was this all wooden building, the wooden stage, and it was tiered up away from the stage. So you not a bad seat in the house, and the band kind of felt surrounded. The energy in the room was palpable and real. And we did things like thanks gatherings there over the years and whatnot. I don't know the whole story there, so I shouldn't try to say it. But I think one of the colleges kind of bought the land and took it down all those years ago, and so it's moved around to a couple different locations. The one we're going to play this fall will be our first time at this location.
Oh, okay.
So this is a new one, but I've heard nothing but good things.
Jay still owns it. He runs it.
Oh yeah.
It's kind of a homecoming of sorts.
And the thing is, when you walk in, it's all a lot of the same family. It's been there forever, so it's a beautiful part. North Carolina's been really great to us for a very long time. There's a lot of family folk up there, and Ziggy's is definitely a big part of that. Why we have that feeling through anywhere we go in North Carolina.
What's not to put you on the spot, and I didn't write them down. I could pull them up on my phone, but upcoming shows. I know you're in the South. Yeah,
I'm off this month.
Well, we won't go there.
I haven't looked at it too much. I think we hit it again in October, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
I'll cut this out.
Yeah. It's fine. You can leave it in. People should know the reality. Yeah, October. I'll be going up to Northeast for a few days. Cool. The Brooklyn Bowl's always nice. I think there's a couple new rooms on there.
I've not been to the Brooklyn Bowl either.
Oh, yeah, it's great. We've been doing that one a long time.
Okay.
So, yeah, love Brooklyn Bowl.
Speaking of towns buying land and stuff, isn't it crazy how Athens has changed in 20 years?
Really wild.
It's unbelievable.
Next year will be 20 years of living here. But I feel like only the last 2 years have I had enough time to start to really get to know the town.
Oh my gosh.
Like have time to go do local events and stuff like that.
We still love coming up here to eat because you can still eat great food here affordably, unlike where we are right now. And I still love like Last Resort and the National, just good food. So
gotcha. So you're not in Athens?
I'm about 30 minutes.
Oh, okay.
Just over in Buford, but we're more on like the Jefferson side.
That's not too far.
Yeah, it's a scoot. My mom still has a place here. My dad is here. They split up, but they both still live here.
And you're saying you volunteer here?
Yeah,
that's great, man.
I need to get back because life's been a little crazy, and I haven't been up here in a couple months. But I love to get here. It just makes me feel good, you know.
Yeah. So that's like I was saying earlier. That idea of service has become something that has been a driving force these last few years, and trying to figure out, like you said, figuring out time at home and to be of best service, not just to the people in your immediate life, but to your community.
For sure.
You know, so.
I was going through a dark time, and Nucci's, I'd heard of Nucci's space, but I didn't really know what it was about. And so I started volunteering. And there's something about, I never really asked for help, but I came up here a lot and just kind of had some time with my thoughts and read Linda's book about Nucci, and that helped me. But man, they do some incredible work here.
They do. They have fun for a long time.
Yeah.
When we
they're having their 25th anniversary coming up.
Really?
Yeah.
So, I mean, Nucci's was relatively new when we moved here in 2006, but as soon as we heard about the rehearsal rooms as a young band, we were utilizing them pretty often. And then, I know some of the guys have come in for some of the other services over the years. Sure. But yeah, we're lucky to have that here in this town.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up because I think that, and I've had the opportunity to speak with Backline too, that does some cool stuff for musicians in their orbit.
Yeah.
I think just because you're on stage doesn't mean you don't have real world problems. And it's made me appreciate that there's people out there, because we lose a lot of people to suicide. And
inside of our own team, it's
really
happened. Oh yeah, we've experienced suicide into our old tour manager and everything. We've I think that was especially post-pandemic. and all of us
That was
for
rough.
not only our physical, Brock quit smoking. I've lost a bunch of weight. We've all.
I was going to say you
really
look a lot thinner.
Yeah, we've all really taken advantage of the opportunities that the reflection over the pandemic gave us, as far as how we want to show up for each other. And I think with the mental health aspect of that, we've got a much more open dialogue with the four of us now. I don't know if
that's great.
I don't know how much that has to do with the pandemic, how much that has to do with personnel and just the four of us in the room. I know that when we did the Come On Covers EP, where we did these 4 cover songs over the pandemic with Darren, we had to show up at Chase Park with mask on and everything.
Yeah.
Still, it was it's like early 2021, I think. That there were a lot of discussions that happened there face to face, since we'd only seen each other one other time when we did the live stream for Music Matters in like a year. And so I remember leaving that week with having a much more transparent relationship with all my bandmates. And so I think that the mental health aspect not being something, that people kind of sweep under the rug so much, we don't let it become this elephant in the room anymore.
Do you feel like, and I'm getting off topic a little bit, but I'm curious to get your thought.
Mm-hmm.
Guys don't like to admit they're having problems sometimes too. Like,
sure. Yeah.
Do you agree with that?
Yeah. And we've tried to create a space where we can, where it's okay to not be okay. Right.
Right.
And I think we're seeing that across society a lot more. I think there's, at least on my algorithm, there's a bit of an awakening to, what really has value, and, your own peace, and maybe how do you develop a better relationship with the awareness behind it all,
for sure,
that we all share, and try to see each other more in that space more often.
I love it.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to check out your this new project that you've got going on.
It'll be Somnol Wellness when it launches. It's going to be next month.
Well, David Barbie says he did a lot of that during his recovering from his knee surgery.
Yeah.
And it caught my attention for a minute, but I kind of set that thought to the side, but you just reminded me of it.
I'd gotten this set of bowls over the Crystal Sound bowls over the pandemic and sat there and just had hours to sit there with just simple notes and vibrations and, whatever we can get into what it does for your brain state as far as moving into more of this theta relaxed thing. But I think the proof is in the pudding. So I've tried to, since I decided to really dive in and recognize what it helped do for me, and kind of the getting more in touch with your inner healer, and setting those, sonically setting that place. We've heard all the time, like all the way back to Tim Leary talking about set and setting. A lot, I think setting and sound is hugely important when we're sitting in these spaces, and so cultivating a relationship with that's been really important.
I'll do my part. I'll look that up.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll share a link on the episode.
Right on.
Now, listen, I know you've got something you need to do it too. There's only one last question I want to ask you.
Oh, no worries.
What are you listening to right now? Any new music that you might turn folks on to, or is there anybody people are sleeping on? I've been on a Spafford kick, a Eggy kick a little bit.
Okay.
But what are you listening
to? M83 just put out a new instrumental album. It's a soundtrack for something. I think it's a French movie or TV show or something.
Okay.
It's one of the most amazing pieces of work he's done yet. He's been really killing it again lately. I have to open my phone real quick to tell you, because a lot of the times I'll save something without really looking at the, a lot of Boretta lately.
Okay.
The new Lord Huron, for sure.
I've heard of Lord Huron.
Lord Huron's one of my favorites. Ben Hackett's Song for Sleeping Dogs. Ben's local here.
Yes.
Man.
Patterson was huge on that too.
Oh, man. As far as an instrumental, like, I wake up and try to just stream of consciousness a few pages before I do anything else. And that album is a consistent, no words.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm big on no words.
Yeah.
No drums and stuff lately for my stuff, just more spaces that aren't necessarily an engaging listen, but are creating a vibe and everything like that. Ben's is somewhere in between. It's still pretty engaging, but there's a repetitive motion to a lot of it that I find very sonically pleasing.
I think that was Patterson. I remember somebody mentioning that. I'll have to double check my sources.
Yeah, Songs for Sleeping Dogs. It's a great album. But those are the big ones, it looks like. Loscil. Yeah, this is where it gets weird. Loscil. It's an artist where it's going to be almost all ambient texture, but great for breath work and stuff like that. So I'm always seeking out how can I cultivate a playlist now, the last couple of years that moves with some of these activities to do with it.
If you had to point somebody towards like somebody that doesn't know a lot about that type of healing or exercise, where would you point them to start?
I mean, there's a lot of great stuff on YouTube and whatnot. I think, if you're looking for a challenging thing, then start with, the Wim Hof is more of a breath retention thing. But there's other sorts of breathing that are far more relaxing, alternate nasal breathing and stuff like that, that'll deregulate. That's the other side of, maybe the get the energy going kind of breath work.
Well, man, you look great. I almost didn't recognize you on your.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not ashamed to say I used peptides in 23 and 24 to help. I'd been trying for years and years. I had some army injuries around my hips and my knees. The doctor says I need both of them replaced. But I got deep on a yoga practice, and that didn't show for a couple of years, which is totally fine because it's not really about that. It was about the discipline of just doing it every day. And then I was able to, start shedding the pounds and everything and started doing the certifications and everything at that point. And that really reinforced the discipline. You go pay money for a certification in class, you're definitely going to show up at that point. So it might have been a little bit of accountability I was creating for myself at those times. But, we all find the thing. If it's lifting weights, if it's going for a walk, whatever it is, it goes back to that game of just really being able to control your own nervous system. And I think that helps you take a look at, how much space, what's best for Perpetual Groove, what's best for all of us is in our own health and everything like that. And fortunately, the answer has been there's no reason for P Groove to ever stop. That we're lucky that people still want to hear us play. Yeah. And so we're going to do that as long as people are going to be coming. Like I said, we're going to mark off the 25 years with some special events next year for sure, starting with the Rialto Room. Then we've got some stuff planned for the end of the year as well. And throughout the year, to be completely honest, regionally, we're going to be hitting some fun, different things for the 25 years. After that, we're going to still play. It's not like 25 years and we're done. So, right. but I imagine it'll be, how we want to do it.
That's awesome. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I haven't seen you guys in a long time. And
I hope you get the chance.
Oh, I will. Yeah. I'll make myself come. But I have a lot of fond memories of P Groove at Georgia Theater while I was there. And I consider you guys to be a staple of this music scene in Athens for sure.
That's kind of you to say. I appreciate it. We're honored to even be mentioned when it happens. So.
Well, I'm so glad to finally have an opportunity to meet you.
We know we swung in as those Savannah hoodlums when we came rolling into Athens. So,
A lot of people came from Savannah. John Neff, he's from down there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Love John. He's a great guy.
He's a great
guy. It's a pleasure meeting you, man. So thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Yeah. Anybody you want to give a shout out to, or while I got you, anything you want to say to people that might be listening?
I mean, just P Groove fans are still the best fans in the world. They've put up with a lot from us, and the fact that they still come and let us do our thing the way we want to do it and support us in doing that blows me away. I still don't get it, but I am very grateful for it.
Good to meet you, man.
Good to meet you. Thank you. Good.